Hi YouTube. How y'all doing? So I gotta remember, I be looking, you know how like when you record from a phone, you want to look at yourself instead of looking at the camera. I was tempted to do it from the back camera, but I was like, you know what? I'll just do it like this from now on, and then when I start making more videos, I'll get it together. But anyway, I told you guys in the last video that I was going to come back with the part 2 of the video about finding out that my 14-year-old daughter was pregnant. And so as you can see by the title of this video is I've been having brain farts. This video is basically going to be about my daughter's labor and delivery story and what happened at the hospital and all that kind of stuff. So I advise you guys, excuse me, if you didn't watch the video found out my 14-year-old daughter was pregnant, you should go back and do that before you watch this one. That way you'll better understand what I'm talking about in this video. And before we get started, I want you guys to hit that like button, subscribe, and the notification bell so you guys will be notified every time I post a video. So make sure you do that. And like I said in the last video, when you hit that like button, you press subscribe, and then you can also comment down below what video you want me to do, or if you have questions you want to ask me, let me know. And when you guys do that, you will become one of my inspirationals, because that will inspire me to make more videos to uplift and encourage you guys. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to get straight into this story. And I got my candy like always. I don't know, whenever I'm talking for a long time, I just like, I love candy and I love chocolate. I'll eat chocolate over food. That's all it is to it. Okay, so here we go. So like I said, okay, you know, like I said, if you haven't watched the other video about me finding out my 14-year-old daughter was pregnant, go back and watch that video and then come back to this video. So her labor and delivery story, this is how it happened. So me and my daughter, we got the same doctor. So I had a doctor's appointment actually the day that she went in labor. So I had a doctor's appointment that day, and it was my son's birthday. My 8-year, he was 7 at the time. It was his birthday. So I went to my doctor's appointment and I told my daughter, I said, hey, go ahead and come with me in case you go in labor, because she had told me that her back was hurting. So I was like, okay, go ahead and come with me in case anything happens. You can already be at the hospital. So she's like, okay. So we got in the car, we go to my doctor's appointment and all that. And so then the doctor was like, my doctor was like, okay, what's going on with Asia? Is she okay? I said, well, I brung her with me. She's out in the lobby. Her back was hurting. So she's like, okay, I'm going to bring her back and go ahead and look at her and just make sure everything is fine. So she brought my daughter back, and my daughter told her all the symptoms she was having and all that. So she was like, the doctor was like, okay, go ahead and just take her over to the hospital just in case anything happens, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, sure. So when we left out my doctor's appointment, I'm thinking in my head, you know what? I done had all these kids, and I know if you go to the hospital and you ain't ready, you're going to be at the hospital all day and all night. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I told my daughter, I was like, okay, it's Zion's birthday, my son's birthday. I said, I still have a lot of stuff to do. I said, we'll go and do what we have to do. And then if anything happened, we'll take you to the hospital. So went to go run all the errands, do what we had to do for my son's birthday, get home about 9 o'clock that night. So I let her go take a bath or a shower first. And so she got out, she left out. So I went to go take my bath. So when I got out the tub, she was bent over the couch. And I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I'm hurting. She's like, keep having real bad pains in my stomach. So my dress is tore up. Oh, man. That's sad. She was like, I'm having these real sharp pains in my stomach. And I was like, okay, go get dressed. I think you're having Braxton Hicks contractions. And so she get dressed. We take her to the emergency room. And so they checked her and everything, so they ended up admitting her because she was having contractions, and she was so young, they didn't want us to go back home and something happens there. So we get admitted in the hospital that night, and this was like 10 o'clock at night. So mind you, that night, nothing happened. She was still having contractions, and they was kind of giving her some kind of medicine to slow the contractions down, because our doctor wasn't on duty. It was another doctor on duty, and she really wanted our doctor to deliver the baby. So they was like, okay, well, we can give you this in case anything do happen. I think when she was like 6 centimeters along, but she didn't get that far along until the next day. So, like I said, we got to the hospital at 10 o'clock that night. And then come the next morning, nothing happened. And so then the next day, I think around 2 o'clock, is when the doctors came in, the anesthesiologist, the epidural guy, whoever, I don't even know what he called. They come in, and this was the hardest part for me. Oh my gosh, because I got 6 kids, right? So with me, with my very, very first child, I got the epidural because I was scared. I didn't know how the contractions was going to feel. So I got the epidural, and to me, like, women be like, that epidural don't hurt, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, y'all. That jump feel like somebody that took your back and then hit it with a brick, shot you, stabbed you, and chewed you up and spit you out all over again. So after that one time having an epidural, the rest of my kids, natural. Nothing. No, I wasn't doing it. So then, I know the epidural hurt, so they came in and they was ready to do the epidural, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, they send people out and they let me stand there with her so I can kind of hold her hand and stuff. So, oh my gosh, I'm holding her hand. The man is back there behind her back, and I can just see the look in her face. Her hand is shaking. She's so scared, so scared. And you know what? No parent wants to see their child in pain, even though it is labor and delivery, and she did have the kid at a young age. I mean, my grandson. Let me stop saying the kid. So it's like he was back there forever, and it's like he was trying. My daughter kept jumping, and at this point, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of getting nervous for her. I'm getting scared. So I guess the first time he did whatever, he didn't get it. So my daughter just started bawling, and I'm like, oh my gosh! I start praying inside my head. I'm like, Lord God, please let this man get this done with, and he don't mess up nothing, so this can hurry up, because this is traumatizing. So then, the second time he tried, he finally got it. My daughter, she was squeezing my hand so hard. You can see the red in my hand. I'm black, and my whole hand turned red. And I bet telling you, my hand was red for a whole week after that, seemed like. So after that, you know what? They got to relax, and they laid her back down and all that stuff. But yep, they laid her back down. And so then I think that her dad get there. Yeah, her dad got there, I think, a couple hours before the epidural. So, mind you, I had been at the hospital since 10 o'clock that night. Her dad got there, I think, probably around late in the evening sometimes. And me and him, we was, like, on bad terms. He was angry at me, mad at me for whatever he was. But he had good reason, too, because if I was him, I would have been pissed at me, too. Mind you, him and his friend come up in there eating cheeseburgers and all that stuff, and I'm sitting over here. I wanted to kill him. He didn't even say, hey, Rachel, would you like a cheeseburger? Nothing. He was up there eating. Did he look at me and say, oh, you hungry? I'm like, no, eat your food. And so then, after that, me and her dad ended up, what did we do? We ended up getting, oh yeah, this is what he was doing. He was on the phone calling people, telling all these people, hey, she's about to start pushing. She's about to start pushing. Come up here. Get up here. And my daughter was telling me, Mom, I don't want nobody in here. So all I did was I told him, I said, hey, Asia don't want nobody in here. So when I said that to him, he went off on me. We got into the biggest argument. And I was just trying to, and my daughter's in the hospital bed right there. Her baby daddy just sitting over there staring or doing whatever he's doing. So then we ended up getting in an argument. And then so he leave out the room. And when he left out the room, he couldn't find his keys. So he's telling his friends, he came in there, what'd you do with my keys? I can't find my keys. You lost. I'm like, dude, I did not touch your keys. So what ended up happening, this is what I did. He still don't know to this day. When he left out, I ended up finding his keys. It was up under some stuff. So when he accused me of taking his keys, what I did, I took his keys and I put it inside of the laundry because he accused me of taking the keys and I didn't have them. So I'm like, if you're going to accuse me, you know what? Let me take these keys and dump them in the laundry. So at this time, he was out the room. Him and his friends was out the room. And so his friend came back up and he was like, man, he lost his keys. I don't know where his keys at. And I was like, hey, so you might want to look in the in the laundry over there. So his friend ended up finding his keys and all that. And my daughter, she was over there in silent tears because me and her dad was arguing in the labor and delivery room. And then her baby dad is sitting over here talking on the phone to who knows whatever. And that made her cry even more. So then this was about the time it was time for her to start pushing. So my doctor came and she seen me and she said, Rachel, she was like, what's wrong? It seems like you're agitated. She's like, you look like you're upset. What's wrong? And I said, yeah. I said, my kid's dad is here. I said, he got all these people up here that my daughter barely know. Nobody was there for her during the pregnancy. He got all these people coming up here thinking they finna watch her have a baby. So my doctor was like, you know what? Know what we'll do? We'll get everybody out the room and down the hall. And we will ask Asia what 4 people she wanted in the room. So of course she chose me, her dad, her best friend, and her baby's father to be in there. So that settled that situation. So, you know, she got ready to push and all that stuff. So, you know, like sometimes I believe what they did, when you leave the baby in there a little bit too long during labor and delivery, the baby get an infection. So during this whole process, because what they were doing, she was at like an 8. And they didn't check her again to see if she was at a 10 for like 3 hours, 4 hours later. And so, because they were trying to wait on the doctors to hurry up and get done doing what she was doing before she came over there. So the baby ended up getting an infection when he came. So the baby had to go to the NICU, and my daughter looked at me when she did, finally she pushed, you know, I think like maybe 8, 9 pushes, the baby was out. And yeah, the baby was out. And so then they was like, okay, the baby have an infection. We're going to have to take him to the thing. You can't hold him yet or whatever. My daughter started crying. What's wrong with baby? What's wrong? And I'm like, oh my gosh, calm down. He just have a little small infection. It'll be okay. And then my daughter, Mom, go with him. They might do something to my baby. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I go with them, you know, down with the baby, hold him and everything, and they get him situated. So I was already tired. So by this time, after that day was over with, you know, when the baby have an infection, they have to stay in the hospital for like weeks at a time until it clear up, until they start eating. So that's what ended up happening in this situation. So my daughter, that's what ended up happening. So I told my daughter, since the baby was sick, I said, tell your baby daddy's family, do not come up here. They can come to my house. I will cook for them and see the baby when you're out of the hospital. She's like, oh, okay, Mom. So then I think it was the next day, you know, I'm out doing my errands. It's a Saturday. I'm out running my errands, and I was so tired, and I wasn't going to go back to the hospital that day because I was tired and I wanted to go home. So I'm on my way home. My daughter called me really quick. Mom, the nurse is getting ready to call you. I think it's too many people up here. So I didn't even wait till the nurse called me. I did a U-turn, go to the hospital. Y'all, when I tell you, labor and delivery, when you go, before you can get back there to the floor where they put you on once you have a baby, they got a waiting room. So I get in there. It is about 20 people in the waiting room. And like I said, her baby daddy's family, they're African, you know, they wear the wraps and all that stuff. And I get in there and I see all these people in there, and I was so angry and I was so mad, and they were speaking to me, and I was just kind of marched straight back. Had to go through the double doors to my daughter's room. So this is the funny part. When I get back there, the nurse, before I even got in my daughter's room, the nurse was like, it was people in her room. The nurse was like, do you need me to help you get them out of there? And I'm like, why is she saying that? Like, who was in the room? I go in the room. It was 2 of my daughter's baby daddy friends standing up against the wall with their arms folded with shades on like they gangsters or bodyguards or something. Another person sitting over here, you know, her and her best friend sitting on the bed eating Wendy's and all that stuff. And 2 or 3 more people up in the whatever, seeing the baby. So I went in that room, and all I said was, get out. Get out of here. Get out. So at this time when I said that, the baby daddy was upstairs seeing the baby, and somebody called him and said that Asia's mom made everybody leave the hospital. So the nurse was like, do you want me to go in the lobby and tell them they have to leave? I said, yeah, well, you do that. So she walked all the way down the long hall and tell them that they have to leave. And all I heard was, you know, they speak Swahili. So that's all I heard. They was mad at me, so angry at me for making them leave. But I'm like, and I told the baby's dad, I was like, dude, that's like, how do you guys, I don't know how you guys do it in Africa, but when somebody has a baby, 40 people don't come to the hospital at one time, especially when the baby is sick, you know? You don't do that. That is the craziest thing. You don't do that. You got to think about the baby's sickness, and you giving stuff to the baby. Y'all, when I tell you they had pots of food in my daughter's room, one lady was enough serving her boyfriend and baby dad a plate in the room. I almost lost it. I told my daughter, I said, what have you got me into? Y'all, it was crazy. It was so crazy. And yep, and then after that, they was all mad at me. And then I went back up to the hospital. I had left the hospital. Went back up there later on that night because I had to bring my daughter something. And the baby daddy was up there. So you kicked my family out the hospital. Why would you do that? And all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how y'all do it in Africa. But over here, no, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. And so he had made me so mad because he was trying to argue with me. A little 15, 16-year-old kid was trying to argue with me. And I said, you know what? First of all, when I came in the hospital and I first got in the lobby, I said it was so freaking stank. It wasn't stink, it was stank. It would smell like straight must, and that made me mad, even madder. So I'm like, who does that? I was so mad. So mad. So, yep, that was basically it. That was her labor and delivery story. It was crazy from the time, basically from the beginning to the end. Man, telling y'all, I went through some stuff during that time. I sure did. But I still was nice enough after the labor and delivery was over, and after she got out the hospital with the baby, I still cooked them some food, let them come over to the house and see the baby. Yeah, but that was basically it. That was her labor and delivery story. I'm just like, I told her, I said, you know what? You have another kid before before you turn 21 and you're able to have a job to take care of your baby. Oh, it was crazy, y'all. But yeah, that was the story. My daughter's labor and delivery story. That was the craziest thing. The craziest thing. It sure was. So yep, so you guys, like I said, like and subscribe to this video. Yeah, push the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video. I'm telling you, y'all don't want to miss it because I got some stories to tell you guys, some funny stories, some crazy stories, some more serious stories about stuff that happened to me in my lifetime, so you guys do not want to miss it. You guys sure don't, because it's going to be some crazy stuff. So like I said, please like and subscribe. I'm a fresh YouTube trying to get my channel started. So yep, like I said, like and subscribe to my channel, and when you do that, you will become one of my inspirationals, and when you become one of my inspirationals, you will inspire me to upload more content and inspire and uplift you in things that you're going through in your daily life. So here we go, and like I said before, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. All right, good night, y'all. Until next time. All right, bye.